Yeah.
It feels so weird to be so far away from
know.
you. It feels weird to be far away from you, but it's social distancing.
This is our reality now. I did realize how much I demonstrate physical affection by just touching.
Yeah.
And I'm just in my brain it's I must hate Dodge because I'm not touching it. It's not.
So, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about anti-racism. I just haven't really used that term. I'm not sure why.
Well, I think that one reason why might be that you're black. So you don't need to mark out a space for yourself as anti-racist in order to not be racist quite so much.
Maybe. You and I have been talking about race for a while, here and elsewhere, and not once have I said anti-racism efforts.
But I also think that's partly because we're really sort of comfortable with each other, so we're willing to just say that things are racist.
Yeah. Let's talk about racism. That's what we talk about.
Yeah,
and
right.
then
and
obviously we're going to talk about how to dismantle racism.
Yes.
So what does it mean to you?
So I think I gotta roll it back a little bit
and
talk about what it means to live in a racist society. When we live in a racist society, I as a white person benefit from white supremacy. All sorts of structures.
Can we get nuanced and say that I as a black person also benefit from racism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about that for a second. What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, I've been educated in a white college system. I also have what people call a white talking voice. So a lot of black people talk about signing white on the phone or having their white professional voice hello, my name is Sharon. Or yo, what's up, my name is Sharon. It's that little code switch alluding to some degree of insinuation that voice is better or more educated or more...
Or just more effective in systems that are cultured white, that are, absolutely. You're comfortable existing in white spaces, and that means that in some ways you wield white power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean white
cultural power.
White cultural power.
Not wearing no hood or nothing.
Yeah, not white supremacist power. Although that is what white supremacist power is too, right? There's less distinction between those things than we like to allow there to be, because we want to be comfortable. We want to be distanced from those things. We don't want to say, oh, I participate in white supremacy, because we have taken white supremacy to mean the KKK or something like that, right? We exist in structures, social structures that preference white culture, that preference white presentation. I, as a white person, participate in that kind of by default. I grew up in those modes in ways that you did too, but I grew up entirely in those modes. We talked about in our racism video this difference between racism defined by what you think and how you feel, and racism looking out and up. Yeah, looking at that context of social structures so that I can not be prejudiced towards black people and still take actions that are racist. What I can do is do things that allow these systems that benefit me to just stay in place.
I don't think people realize that race informs a lot more than we think it does.
Yeah.
It's not just a black person getting shot or large scale, really obvious things. It's everywhere. It's microaggressive levels. It's down to where people live. So I think that's why anti-racism work is really important.
Yes. We can live our lives without prejudice. We can be that person. Please don't be that person, but we could be that person that's I don't see race, right? And
why don't you want to be that person?
Because that is racist. I don't have to be prejudiced to be racist. All I have to do is behave in a way that allows those structures to continue, because those structures are racist, right? And so I don't have to do anything. The act of not doing anything is racist. Me literally sitting and doing nothing is racist, because it allows those structures of race to continue. When our society is already racist, just existing in it lets those structures continue.
I'm black. All I have to do is get up and be like,
yeah.
There's a lot of systems in this country that like make it harder for me to live here. And so by me getting up, going to the store, driving a car, doing my hair, surviving.
Literally the act of
surviving is
anti-racist, right? Like, for you to exist in this society, the act of living for me is not anti-racist.
Oh, so are you saying anti-racism is action?
Yes.
It's not just being cute and nice?
It's not deciding that I like black people. It's not even confronting my biases. Although one step towards anti-racism can be confronting your bias. When there is a system that harms black people in our society, changing me doesn't change that system.
You have to activate it with action.
Yes. Anti-racism is a mindset, but also a series of actions, right? What am I doing actively to disrupt racism, to disrupt systems of power? And if the answer is nothing, then I am perpetuating racism.
Yeah.
And that is racist.
Okay.
And that's hard for white people to hear.
Yeah, because I think that to most black people, if you said, hey, is there racism in the world? They'd be like, if a white person does not believe that there is racism, then why would you need to be anti-racist?
Or if a white person just believes that racism is how some people feel,
then you can just stop the feelings.
You just stop the feelings. And you're like, I'm good. I don't hate people. If you recognize that racism exists not just as feelings, but as structures and actions, as black people's ability to get a bank loan, to get called for an interview based on the perception of their name on a resume. And those things do exist. We've shown those things exist over and over and over again. If you're not actively working to dismantle racism, then you're racist. That doesn't mean that you hate people.
It just means that you're subscribing to a system. No one wants to be racist. And I wish there was some way to take some baggage off of that word. Kind of like there's like been stigmas around like lots of words throughout history. Like, oh no, she's depressed. Or, oh no, they have autism. It's just like, no, those are just people with a different way that they work. I wish the word racist was just acknowledged as like a state.
In America, it is normal to be racist.
Yeah.
Because racism exists in the structures of our nation. Schools in American society are built in many ways on systems of white supremacy. A preference towards white history and culture, texts, pedagogy, the school to prison pipeline, and the way that behavior
is handled. Oh my God.
And I'm a teacher in schools, right?
Yeah. And I enroll in a school.
You enroll students in schools, right?
Yeah.
We don't get to choose which parts we participate in, right? We participate in school, and even if our school does a good job of navigating those things,
schools,
we exist
capital S,
in the education
capital
department.
E education system.
Yeah,
Woo!
And therefore we are racist by perpetuating these systems.
Oh, so then you are participating in anti-racism by bringing in black literature, black authors into your pedagogy.
Or by paying attention to the way that black students and black culture create certain preferred modes of learning. Those are ways of disrupting that white supremacy.
Yes.
And then I can say that my teaching is anti-racist.
And then go ahead, go. Go.
That does not mean that my teaching is not also racist. Being anti-racist does not make you not racist. It just makes you also anti-racist. Because you don't get to be not racist until systemic and structural racism is gone. And that's going to be a long time.
Got me doing calisthenics over here.
Sorry, I stopped you, but I wanted to get that out. That's so important.
Woo! Well, I just go to white people. I'm just like, can I help you not be racist?
That's anti-racist.
Yeah!
I remember you telling me one time, I don't know, you should talk about this, not me, but I remember you telling me one time that you like to go to coffee shops in really white neighborhoods.
Yes! There's some times in my life where I'm feeling particularly brave. As a black person, so brave. And so I'm just like, I'm going to go to a coffee shop in Dublin. And I just sit there and I'm like,
And just you existing in that space disrupts the whiteness of that space.
Yeah.
Disrupts the fact that, and it doesn't make whiteness not normal in that space.
Is the keyword disruption?
I think it's...
What is the keyword here?
I think one keyword is disruption. Another keyword is education and learning. Right? Because you have to make these things visible.
Okay.
First. Like, if people don't know that they're there, they can't deal with them. Or they're not willing to deal with them. I think discomfort is one of them. Because, man, it's really easy to just be like, I love everyone. How mad should I make you right now? All lives matter.
All lives do matter.
Sure.
But
yes.
It is, but it is not acknowledging. I'm going to do some lunges so that I don't know, so I can put my anger in my thighs. It's not acknowledging what the real situation is.
And by saying all lives matter, what you do is you equalize the values. You're not understanding that racism is alive and well and actually hurts the lives of millions of people on this planet. And so what that means is the phrase all lives matter is racist. Mm-hmm. And it's not racist because it expresses hate for anybody. Yeah. You literally just said all lives matter. I like to say, I talk about bodies a lot. So I have some a torn MCL that I've been struggling with since my marathon days in my 20s. All lives matter. It's like if I have a torn MCL and then a doctor gives me a body cast. It literally does not address the fact that I have a torn ligament in my knee. Yeah. And I just have this is the thing that needs attention. This is the thing that needs... no, the problem is specific. What are the limits of it? I think that the biggest limit is, it's like the word ally to me. Does it get too performative? It can get performative and it can turn into an identity. And I think that those two things together can get dangerous. Because once I say I am anti-racist, then you stop doing work. Once anti-racist becomes an identity or a noun, I think it can blind people. You can just you stop. Yeah. The many ways that they can still be racist while taking anti-racist actions. People need to realize, listen, person out there, you need to realize race is a sneaky little devil. Why did I say it like that? It's like COVID. Yeah, it's gonna get in there. Yes, it's gonna get in there. Wear a mask, stay hydrated. It's just like if you don't, it's preventative. Like you have to be preventative against it all the time. Yes, and what that means is you have to constantly be working on yourself, constantly self-examining. And you have to be willing to admit that even as you are anti-racist, you are also maybe benefiting from modes of white supremacy. Right. You are still privileged. You are still... Being anti-racist is not an identity. It's not something you suddenly are and now you're a good guy. It is an activity. Yes. It is something that you have to actively do even as sometimes you may still be racist in other ways. Right. Just like you can be a healthy person and still contract this virus. Yes. Absolutely. You can't be like, I am COVID free, forever. It's just forever. No, you can still get it if you go out there and willy-nilly, not washing them hands. And you can be very careful, and you can follow best practices, and you can learn, and you can pay attention to things, and all of those things are true, and you are still vulnerable to these things, and you still exist in a whole society, in a whole system. And I think one part of being anti-racist as a verb and not a noun is constantly self-examining. Yeah. And that's hard. It's so hard. But race push-ups. Race push-ups. You got to practice. Yeah. You have to stay engaged. And you also have to admit that sometimes you fail. One of the biggest things I would change is if people stop being so about racism. I wish people understood that it's way more normal to be racist because of the way the world works. Sharon, is that it? That's it.